Hi, today I thought we'd talk about ways of approaching scales and learning scale shapes rather than just playing the scale through. When you first come across a scale that you need to learn afresh, the way that you get familiar with it is you just play the scale shape through. So you get your copy of PhatPhish or whatever, you find the scale that you want to learn. So if it's a major scale, you find a fingering for it and you play it through. And that's great for getting your basic understanding and feel for the fingering, and that's great. But there's a problem, perhaps, that if you just practice the scale by playing the scale through like that, that your ears, your head, your fingers, like the muscle memory in your hand, just kind of get locked into playing that shape, and that's how you will naturally fall. If you're playing, you'll naturally want to follow it with, and that can make for some kind of uninspiring playing if you come to use the scale when you're improvising over a chord pattern, because you'll just naturally have a tendency that your licks will just involve going up and down the scale a bit too much. And also, in terms of getting yourself familiar with the sound of the scale, it doesn't give you all of the sonic possibilities. All you're hearing is just the basic scale, but there's more movement between the notes possible within that scale, and you're not really hearing it. So one thing I always suggest people do is, when they're learning a scale, is, as well as getting familiar with the basic scale shape, it's great to learn just the basic fingering, but then explore and find different patterns that you can play with that. I'll show you an example. Let's stick with the major scale. It's one we should all be familiar with by now. And think about, rather than just playing the scale through, playing it through using little triplet patterns. So we're still going to play the pattern based on every degree, but on each degree we're going to be playing more than one note. We're going to be playing this little pattern. So if we start off on the first degree, rather than just playing just that one note, what I'm going to play is a 1, then a 2, then a 3. So just moving up the scale in sequential for 3 sequential notes. On the next beat, play the second degree, then follow that with the 3 and the 4. And on the third beat, play the 3, followed by the 4 and the 5. Next beat, play the 4, followed by the 5 and the 6. Next beat, the 5, followed by the 6 and the 7. Next beat, the 6, followed by the 7 and the octave. Next beat, 7, followed by the octave and the 2. And so on through the scale. So instead of playing just a basic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pattern, what we're playing is triplets. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. Yeah? We'll get something that sounds like this. We can do the same thing coming down. Instead of just playing the scale descending and so on, what we can do is play that triplet pattern, play it descending. So we'll play 1, 7, 6, 7, 6, 5, 6, 5, 4, and so on. We'll get something that sounds like this. Okay, so as you can hear, it sounds a bit more interesting than just playing the basic scale through. And what we can do is we can come up with all sorts of different patterns. Play them on each degree of the scale, yes, still, so we'll go up and down the scale and practicing it and getting used to the sound and the fingering, but we're not getting locked in just playing the basic scale shape. Okay, so as another example, let's look at something, say, using a natural minor scale for a change. And there, instead of playing the scale through, what we're going to do is play alternate notes. So we'll start on the first degree, then go up to the flat 3, then go from the second degree up to the 4th, from the flat 3 up to the 5, from the 4 up to the flat 6, 5 up to the flat 7, flat 6 up to the root, flat 7 to the 2, and so on. We'll get a pattern that looks like this. You know, and same thing coming down, going down with alternate notes. Now, and this is the sort of thing you can treat it as well as an exercise in getting your ear familiar with the scale. You know, it's a left-hand fingering exercise for getting familiar with different fingerings for a scale. You can treat it as a picking exercise because it's really good for building up alternate picking technique. And as always, recommend practice against a metronome, playing so you at a speed that you're comfortable with, where you can play the pattern nice and evenly. You know, I'm not wanting to hear 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. It should be 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. Very steady. And as you get more proficient, build the speed up on the metronome. Or if you want, you can put the patterns into PhatPhish as well. If you haven't experimented with the riff builder function yet, that's in there. That's quite useful for building up different patterns, and I'll do a tutorial on that in the not too distant future, showing you how that works. But you can, sit down and come up with different patterns. So think of a scale that you want to learn, and say, well, where could I go rather than playing the scale through or 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4? How about playing 16th notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and you can take that pattern, extend it across the scale, across the full fingerboard, and practice it and get up to speed. Anytime you learn a new scale, once you're familiar with the fingering for it, look at sort of patterns that you can put in as part of your practice, just to get your ears familiar with it. And then you'll find that when you're playing, lead lines, solo lines, you've got sort of some natural little patterns in that fall under your fingers that are much more interesting than just playing the scale through. Okay, so there's loads of different combinations if you think about all the different scales that all the scales that's available in PhatPhish for you to learn, and all the different possible patterns you could have. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 2, 4. All these these different combinations. You could be on for a long time. Just experiment. Play around, come up with some patterns, and use them as part of your practice routine. The important thing is about not getting locked into always playing the scale through in the same way, and playing this religiously, just up and down sequential notes. Okay, so there's plenty for you to go away and experiment with in your own time. So have fun with that, and see you in the next video. Bye.